Why is it so hard to escape poverty? Imagine you've been out of work for months, constantly sending out applications and hoping for a break. Government support programs have helped you scrape by, covering rent, utilities, and groceries, but it's barely enough to make it through. Then, finally, you get some good news. One of your job applications pays off. You receive your first paycheck in what feels like forever, and it seems like life might finally be turning around. But there's a catch. Your new job pays just enough to make you ineligible for the benefits you relied on, yet not quite enough to cover all the same expenses. On top of that, you now have to pay for transportation to get to work, and childcare while you're there. Somehow, even though you're employed, you're left with less money than when you were out of work. Economists call this disheartening situation the welfare trap, one of several types of poverty traps that keep millions of people across the world locked into cycles of hardship. Poverty traps are conditions, economic, environmental, or social, that feed into themselves, making it difficult for people to escape poverty generation after generation. Some are tied to an individual's personal situation, like limited access to nutritious food or education. Others can affect entire nations, such as persistent corruption or the devastating effects of climate change. But the cruel irony of welfare traps, in particular, is that they arise from the very systems designed to fight poverty in the first place. Throughout history, societies have always developed ways to help those struggling meet their basic needs. Before the 20th century, religious groups and private charities often led those efforts. Today, these safety nets have evolved into welfare programs, typically government initiatives providing subsidies for essential needs like housing, food, energy, and healthcare. Most of these programs are means-tested, meaning they're only available to people whose income falls below a certain level. The goal is to make sure help goes to those who need it most. However, that same rule means people lose their benefits as soon as they earn a little more than the threshold, even if they're not yet financially secure enough to stand on their own. This cycle harms both those trying to climb out of poverty and those precariously close to falling into it. Traditional economic theories often assume that people act rationally, carefully weighing the costs and benefits of their choices to make the most advantageous decision. So, if someone realizes that working won't leave them any better off financially, they might decide it's not worth taking the job. Of course, people don't only work for money. Many value having a sense of purpose, social belonging, or pride in earning their way. But income is still one of the strongest motivators for seeking employment. And when fewer people take jobs, the economy slows down. This slowdown not only keeps people trapped in poverty but can also push those already teetering on the edge into it. Some argue that the best way to fix this feedback loop is to get rid of government assistance programs entirely. But most experts agree that doing so would be neither practical nor humane. So the real question becomes, how can we redesign welfare systems so they don't punish people for trying to work? Many countries have experimented with different solutions. Some allow individuals to continue receiving benefits for a limited time after they start working. Others gradually reduce benefits as a person's income rises, rather than cutting them off all at once. These methods still create some disincentive to work, but they greatly reduce the risk of falling into a welfare trap. Other governments have taken a different route by offering benefits, like education, healthcare, and childcare, equally to everyone, regardless of their income. This way, no one is penalized for earning more. One proposal pushes this concept even further, the idea of a universal basic income. This policy would give every person a fixed amount of money, no matter their wealth, job status, or background. A universal basic income would remove welfare traps completely, since any income people earn would add to, rather than replace, that guaranteed amount. By establishing a stable financial floor below which no one can fall, basic income could even prevent people from sliding into poverty in the first place. The idea isn't new. Economists and philosophers have been discussing it since at least the 18th century. But so far, it remains mostly theoretical. A few small-scale experiments have been tried around the world, but none large enough to show how such a system would work across an entire nation, or globally. Whatever path governments choose to take, one thing is clear: solving the welfare trap means respecting people's autonomy and trusting them with real choices. Only by empowering individuals to make long-term improvements in their own lives and communities can we begin to truly break the cycle of poverty.